Madness isn't really a social event. I mean, it is with you filling out your brackets, your company office pools. By the way, if any of you guys had a company office pool, who won that thing? Like, I'm fascinated. My wife's brother asked me who I picked to win the national championship last night, and I couldn't even remember. Like, my bracket was in such shambles after like 2 days. I couldn't even remember who I picked to win the national championship.
Man, I was riding high after the first round, feeling really good about myself, and then crashed into the ground like the Hindenburg.
But everybody else did. Like, if somebody won the office pool, what did you pick? So I want to say hello to our friends on YouTube today as well. We are broadcasting live 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, 1330 AM in Anderson and Clemson, and wherever you are on the Odyssey app. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Spotify. You can also stream us live via the website, thefanupstate.com. But we now have this handy-dandy YouTube page up that we are very, very excited about. And it's simply The Fan Upstate on YouTube, where each day that we are in studio, you will be able to see Diesel and I from 3 to 5 p.m., the first 2 hours of the show live every day. And if we would love to have you follow us, by the way. So if you could go to YouTube on your phone, go to The Fan Upstate, click subscribe to our station, that would be awesome. Since we have begun promoting and teasing this is something that we've seen this grow little by little every single day. We've had some chunk days, Diesel, where we've really added quite kind of a lot of people.
Yeah, we've seen this thing grow really fast. You know, we've been we've really gone whole hog into our YouTube channel for the last 2 weeks now, 3 weeks maybe on the show, and we've seen our following almost triple in 3 weeks, and that's great. Our subscriber count has tripled, and not only are we doing the live show, which is great, which means you can just kind of jump in whenever you want to for the first 2 hours of the show on days that we're both here in studio, but we're also chopping this down into bite-sized content the same way we do with our audio podcast, and we're lighting people up on there just the way we do on the air. Just the way we do with our audio podcast. Just because we're on a different platform doesn't mean we're changing anything.
And I'll tell you, we're creating quite a few 5-alarm fans on this
Should
platform
I read that again?
as well. 5-alarm fans are those people that try to light us on fire because they're so upset about what we say. But really, folks, what I want to share with you is if you see us on YouTube right now, I am not a huge Hawaiian shirt guy. I have a Hawaiian shirt on right now that has a story to it. So I'm going to encourage you guys to check it out on the YouTube stream when you get a chance. And I want to tell you the story. I always feel like you should have one Hawaiian shirt, and I wanted to wear it today. Number one, because it was warm enough to wear it. Number two, I want to will the tropical vibe into existence. Diesel, I went to the Cayman Islands like in 2014, and the fishing tour guide gave me 2 CDs of his like reggae island music.
Sweet.
And I kid you not, dude, every single time I still have a vehicle that has a CD player. I'm that old school. It brings me back to the Cayman Islands. You know, it's kind of like that. And it's got beats and it's got rust and it's got everything. And
how did that go again?
In case you were wondering, Diesel, I'm gangster. In case you're wondering.
Yeah.
Very gangster over here.
Do you want to hear, for the audience members who didn't get to hear it yesterday, should we give them our 5-alarm fan of the day?
Well, let's hear this. But Diesel, I want to finish this story for a minute here. The shirt that I am wearing, the Hawaiian shirt that I'm wearing, was not cheap. But I always want to have one Hawaiian shirt. And I want to give you the quick story because I'm going to ask you guys a question about this. Angela and I, last Memorial Day, so last May, we visited my folks down in Florida. And Angela and I took an afternoon where my folks took care of Jackson, our 5-year-old. And Angela and I went to a really cool beach town called Dunedin. And it's the bay, Diesel. It's the water. They've got all these shops. They've got all these restaurants kind of right on the water. You walk and you see the water. It's beautiful. And in that little town, they had like a store, clothing store. And I walk in there, and the shirt that I have on immediately jumps out to me. And I was like, babe, what do you think of this? She goes, oh, I like that. I like that. I said, I really don't have anything like this. I would like one thing like this because it puts me in a beachy mood. So the owner of the store is from Greece, Diesel, and he comes up to me and he goes, no. You don't need this one. You need this one. And I said, why? You just handed me the same shirt. No. I have you extra large. You have large in your hand. I hand you extra large. I said, no, I don't want extra large. He goes, you need extra large. Look at this belly. You need the extra large. And I said, are you telling me? He goes, oh, try them on. I tell you, your wife doesn't want to tell you. She doesn't want to hurt your feelings. I'm telling you right now, you need the extra large.
Did you clear this accent with our local Greenville Greek contingency before you pulled it out of the air?
I cleared it from Greektown Tavern when I followed you and Ashley there last year. Okay. So I cleared it from there. So anyway, Diesel, when I was in that store, I weighed 220 pounds. And so I was buying something for Angela at that store, and she was buying this for me. And the deal was, Diesel, that I don't get to wear the shirt until I'm under 200 pounds because I weighed 220 pounds at the time. And the large was snug on me at that time, but the extra large looked like I was wearing like parachute pants for a shirt, Diesel. I looked like I was wearing a hot air balloon shirt. Okay. So I said to the guy, I said,
well, isn't that the point when you're on an island? You need a little room. You need the breeziness under the shirt.
And this dude had no belief. He goes, you're not going to get smaller. You're going to get bigger. Look at what are you not eating around here? What is wrong with you? Do you see this belly? How come your wife not denying your belly? And I'm like, I can't believe this guy's talking like this to customers. And I said, babe, we're going to get the large. He's going to roll his eyes at me. I'm not allowed to get it from you until I weigh under 200 pounds. Okay? Diesel, I clocked in under 200 pounds last month. The shirt, I think you can probably tell, fits very, very well. Fits very well. I have room. It is breathing. It is all of those things. And I'm just here to tell you guys, I cannot wait. You know why I did this? I remember I got this shirt in Dunedin, and you know why it worked? Because I was done eating. That's why it worked. I got done eating, and I lost 20 plus pounds in the last 10, 11 months. And here I am in my shirt weighing under 200 pounds. And Diesel, my question to you is, what do I say to this guy when I go back into his store this year? Because I'm going to go back into his store this year at some point. What do I say to this guy? Have you ever had a major bird moment where you just want to give somebody the bird, but you're going to be more tactful than that? And it's kind of like do you like apples? How do you like them apples moment? How you like me now? This guy said I couldn't do it, and it pissed me off for 10 months.
I think you do Chris Farley's fat guy in a little coat, but fat guy in a little shirt. Fat guy in a little shirt. Fat guy in a little shirt.
Come on, Diesel. Look. I fit in this, right? I mean, this.
Yeah.
How is this?
Yeah,
I fit in this well, right?
Yeah. There's no bulge in the middle. You know?
So there you go. So how you like me now, Dunedin? I'm done eating. All right. So that's why I fit into this bloody thing, and I love it. And this is exactly what I wanted. So I feel vindicated. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever had this moment of pure vindication where somebody doubted you and you were able to come back and say, how you like me now? That's what I'm feeling in this moment today. Texter says, Mark, the Kentucky Derby is the most extreme social event. Never been. A lot of people say it's a bucket list item. It is see and be seen. You do have the $1,000 mint julep there. It is very, very much see and be seen.
I've been to some of the races up at Tryon, some of the horse races in Tryon where you can get into the infield. It's much, much more low key, but man, it's a blast. People get just as hammered at horse racing events as they do at NASCAR events. You would think that it would be, it would be a more conservative crowd, like they would keep their baser impulses tamped down, but no, they get blitzed out of their mind at horse races.
Hey, what's he talking about, blitz? You're too fat to be blitzed. You're buying the wrong size shirt. What's wrong with you? You stupid. You keep eating. You fat. That's what I had. That's what I had right in my face last February. You guys should have heard this. I should have recorded this. It was the most incredible thing in the world. Folks, I would like to give you this. So another confession. I am very, very, very hooked on lists. The problem for me is this show today is going to be a bit of an experiment because I have a ton of different lists and rankings and things like that to give you today. I'm fascinated with lists, fascinated with them. You tell me top 10 beaches in the world on YouTube. I'm watching. Top 10 places to visit in Costa Rica, where my wife and I are thinking about going for our honeymoon. Diesel, that will get me literally every single time. Top 10 most beautiful campuses in America.
YouTubers have figured that out. It's because you now have an expectation for how long you're going to have to spend watching this video. Now, obviously, you see the little timer, but you're like, okay, 10 great beaches in 13 minutes. Yeah, I can give about a minute and a half for each one of these beaches. And people are so much more likely to click on it. People are getting a little more savvy. They don't want to be tricked into watching a 45-minute long video. They want to be around for 15, 20 minutes tops. And they want to know exactly how much information they're going to get in that 15 minutes. And it works
every single time. So we're going to try something different today. Today on the show, because I'm addicted to them, I'm going to share with you a bunch of different things that are in ranking style kind of list format. Okay. Over the course of the show today, that is what we will do. And at least I know that I'm going to have fun, but I'm going to really try to make it fun for you guys as well. Remember, the next Ingles show is 13 days from right now. So the next Ingles show is on April 26th. It's at 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg at Ingles. The day after that is our NFL Draft Extravaganza. So we got an NFL Draft preview show, and then we have an NFL Draft party show. And the party show is at Twin Peaks. The whole lineup will be there. The Rob Brown Show, 9 a.m. to noon. Offsides, Marc and Diesel, 3 to 7 p.m. We want you guys to come hang with us. We invite you to come hang with us, chill with us the entire day. Rare is the day that, and I was telling this to listeners yesterday, Diesel, rare is the day, what's great about live shows is that I get to meet the audience. We get to meet the audience. What is hard about it is that all I have is a commercial break. And it's like I can feel Diesel's searing voice yelling at me to get back or busting me with food in my mouth. I feel one of those two things. The beauty about like a draft party event is we're out there watching the draft with you, brother. And we're having a great time. And we hope you can come out and join us as well.
Well, the truth is, Mark, you would have fit into that shirt a lot sooner if you weren't always coming back on the air with food in your mouth.
That's true. Texter says, Mark, the Tryon Equestrian Center is a great time. Have you been, Diesel?
To the Equestrian Center? No. I've been to the Tryon racetrack. I don't know if it's all in the same area or not. Okay.
It is.
I've been to the racetrack, but I haven't been. I've driven past the new facility. I haven't been into that new facility yet.
It's also where you get the side street pizza, which you do not allow to count as part of the upstate pizza because it's over the state line.
It's not Tryon. In the upstate.
The Tryon Equestrian Center.
Mountain Region, North Carolina.
One time with my mom and dad and Angela and Jackson, and it was Olympic quality, world class. One of the arenas, Diesel, looks like you're in like a gladiator type forum.
Wow.
It looks incredible. Like you wouldn't expect to see a venue like that for like showing off horses and things of that nature. It was incredible. Now, hopefully the statute of limitations has passed because that was August. It was raining, Diesel, and they were closed. We just started walking up and pulling on doors, and we found open doors, and we walked in the whole thing.
Love it.
It was closed. No one was in there. Are we supposed to be there? Bet always on team forgiveness, better than team permission.
Stop breaking in if the door's unlocked.
Right. So text Michigan Day Todd says, Mark, go into that shop in Dunedin and buy another shirt and then force feed the old shirt back down the shopkeeper's throats. Here you have your little Hawaiian shirt, you little son of a... What do you mean I'm too fat to eat it?
Why did you turn Irish?
I'm losing my accent here, Diesel. Losing my accent here very, very fast. Wrong.
Yeah, I've never been to the Tryon Equestrian Center, to the new facility, but I have been to the Kentucky Horse Park. And let me tell you, man, Northern Kentucky, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Rolling hills, big open fields. It's like you get right across the state line into Ohio, and it just turns to suck. I don't know what it is about the state of Ohio. It just sucks.
I had a great experience in Ohio, actually. I found the people so friendly. I'll tell you what I loved about it, Diesel. I was driving around. We were there for Derek Brooks's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It was when I was with Booger in Canton, Ohio. And Diesel, I saw hundreds of kids playing football in fields when I drove by. When's the last time you saw that? There's fields around here. They're empty, right? When's the last time? And in Ohio, the fields were occupied with kids playing. And I probably looked like some weird kidnapper or pedo, but I just stopped and parked and watched. Diesel.
Were you wearing the same shirt then that you are now?
Hopefully yes, but no. And because I was amazed, I just was like, this is so cool. This place has such a sense of community. When I was there, this is also a true story. I looked up LeBron James's address. I drove by LeBron James's house. And then there were kids playing basketball at the end of LeBron James's street. LeBron James, by the way, Diesel, has trees covering the whole front of his house, has a permanent cop outside of his house, and
probably smart.
His gates are taller than our building. Okay, our building's like a 2 or 3 story building, like the gates outside.
Yeah.
And it's a real nice neighborhood. And he had just announced he was going back to Cleveland. And so I was driving by, and the house after his kids were playing basketball. I rolled down my windows and I said, hey, how does it feel to have the king back? And the kids were like, man, it's great. And I said, I heard that he felt bad for everyone in the neighborhood because of all the commotion. Did he send you cupcakes? They said he sent us cupcakes. And I said, wow, that's so cool. Glad you got your boy back. I got a video of this, all grainy and old school cell phone on my phone, but I actually I liked Ohio. Wasn't bad. Mark.
Clearly you didn't go to Cincinnati.
No, I didn't go to Cincinnati. Mark, what did you do to lose the weight? Where do you work out? Listen, sometimes when you're in love, you gain a little love weight. I had to lose a little love weight. I will let you guess what I did, what sort of workouts I did to lose the weight over the last year. But honestly, man, straight up, I ate less, under 2,000 calories a day. Diesel can tell you. What do I do, Diesel, when we do the interview replay?
You sprint to Best Buy and back.
I sprint from our studio to Best Buy and back every day when we're doing the interview replay.
Now they're going to know where to find you, Mark.
If you are ever in between where our studio is on Garlington Road and Best Buy, I am sprint walking through all of those shops and jogging when we do the interview replay at 6 p.m. And so I'm doing a little bit of just like curls with basic weights, eating less, walking more. That's it, brother. That's it. Nothing serious. Trey in Kentucky says, congrats, Mark. Make a trip to Keeneland and Lexington, Kentucky. Great horse races that precede the Kentucky Derby. Thank you, Trey. Dave Chappelle lives in a small country town in Ohio now to get away from everyone. Heard him say the people are very, very friendly. See, that's what I'm saying. It's so community-oriented there, man. Texter says, we go to the Tryon Equestrian Center at Christmas for all their Christmas festivities. I would suggest this big time for family fun at Christmas. Thank you, Spur Daddy. Now, Spur Daddy, I have still yet to meet you, so maybe we can do that together. Texter wants to know, Diesel, when were you last in Cincinnati?
2014, so
Why,
9
Diesel?
years ago. I was driving up for the rematch between App State and Michigan. The first time we went up the eastern side of Ohio. The second time we went up the western side of Ohio. So yeah, it would have been 2014. Now, again, we're talking about beautiful rolling hills in Kentucky. You get across the state line and you get to the very southern part of Cincinnati proper. That's the really pretty, beautiful part. It's right there along the river. The Bengals Stadium is there. There's a whole lot of development, or there was at the time, a whole lot of development going on right there up against the river. And again, the river is right on the state line. But as you get a couple of miles, and you got to understand, Cincinnati's got a lot of urban sprawl. Once you get a couple miles past that state line, you get through the newly redeveloped part of Cincinnati. You get into some pretty run-down parts of Cincinnati, and then you start seeing a whole lot of the state bird, which is that middle finger out the window, that and the orange and white traffic cones.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. 71307 on the text line is where you can get to us on the show. We appreciate you guys chiming in on all the above, hearing my story of how I like to get even. When we come back on the show, I'm going to hit you with my guys for the 2023 NFL Draft. That's next. This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. Awesome to have you guys with us. Man, so greatly appreciate all the folks that stopped by yesterday. I got this message, Diesel, from April Mosley. She and her two sons, she had the Appalachian State visor on. What was amazing, Diesel, is like you assume after a while, and you know what they say about people who assume, you make an ass out of you and me, right? And you don't want to do that. So like it was odd to me to see as many female listeners as we had. The last two live shows that we've done on location, there have been female listeners that have come by to say hi. And I always think when I see them, oh, they must be entering the contest, or they heard there's a gift card giveaway. Every single time they're like, Mark, do you know we listen to you and Diesel? We listen to you and Diesel. And I'm blown away every single time. For some reason, I don't expect to hear that, but it's awesome when it happens. So yesterday, April Mosley comes down with her sons, and they were great, fantastic. Gus and Alex and April. And I threw April on the show without any warning because she had the Appalachian State visor on. So today I got a direct message from April. Okay. Who knows if you're supposed to read these things because they got sent to you a direct message ways, but I'm going to read it anyway. She goes, "Hi, Mark, this is April. I came by Ingalls yesterday with my sons, Gus and Alex, and we got to meet you. I wanted to let you know how much we appreciated the time you took to speak to us. We all enjoyed the opportunity to see you do your thing in person. P.S. I was nervous as hell when you put me on the air, but that was a hoot for me. Additionally, the whole team is to be commended for how approachable and kind you all were. If you're ever out again and I see you, I will say hello. Keep up the great work. You rock." I wrote her back and I said, April, this message made my day. You got to get used to me throwing you on the air, though. I do spontaneous things like that. Then Tiger Pal Rachel sent me a message last night. It was nice meeting you today. You have a beautiful family. Jackson was a little cutie. That's from Tiger Pal Rachel. Jamie Murphy yesterday said it was great meeting you. Great meeting you, and your AE is going to meet with me about doing some future advertising with you. So like it's a wonderful event, and we appreciate everyone that comes out, man, and it's just awesome. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm absolutely thrilled to be back doing live shows with Ingalls again. Next live show at Ingalls again next Wednesday. 2 Wednesdays from now. I'm sorry. April 26th, Warren H. Abernathy Highway, Ingalls in Spartanburg. The day after that, for the NFL Draft Round 1, we will be at Twin Peaks for the live show, 3 to 7 p.m. The Rob Brown Show will be there from 9 a.m. to noon. So here we go. I told you I love lists, right? Can't get enough of them. I have my list in front of me, Diesel, of my guys for the NFL Draft. All right? Now, if you consider that 50% of NFL first-round draft picks are busts, which is a true number and accurate number, and you consider that 60% of second-round picks fail to become significant contributors, what's the bar for first and second round? Bar for the first round is you have a solid starter. If you have hit that, then you've met the goal for your first-round pick. If the Carolina Panthers get a solid starter at quarterback, even if he's not Joe Burrow, right? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, okay, we got a solid starter now. That's better than we've had, right?
You can work around that. You can put pieces around to help that guy be more successful, better wide receivers, better blockers, better running backs that can take some of the pressure off of a quarterback. Because, hey, the thing about that guy is there's not many of those guys.
Right.
Like there's only a handful of them. And even in a target-rich environment of that guys in the NFL, there's got to be some players who just aren't. So sometimes you need help around you.
Who are the solid starter quarterbacks in the NFL? Derek Carr, maybe? Jimmy Garoppolo? Maybe Geno Smith is becoming that, right? Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, those might be like your solid starter type of guys. If you get a solid starter, maybe a guy that would be ranked between 11th and 16th among the best quarterbacks, you've done your job. For the second round, the bar is you got to be a significant contributor. Maybe you're not a solid starter, but man, that guy plays a lot every single game, and he helps. He makes a difference. He's a significant contributor to the team, right? Devin Hester would be an example of a guy back in the day, electric with the ball in his hands, his punt returner, didn't play all over the field, didn't play every down, but he was a significant contributor, right? There's players that are significant contributors all over the field. Some start, some do not. But if you are a significant contributor, then you've hit. So what I did, folks, is I looked at the projected first and second rounds of the NFL draft, Mel Kiper Jr.'s most recent mock draft. And I've been looking at these guys, the top 100, 150 players, reading about them for literally months now. And all the college football that I watch, I have my guys. Okay? My question is, who are your guys as well? Do you have a guy that you just love? Because, folks, the reality is 55% of these guys, 55% of the first and second round are going to fall short. Success rate for first-round picks, 50%. Success rate for second-round picks, 40%. So 55% of these picks are not going to hit, right? Because 50% fail in the first round, 60% fail in the second round. Here are my guys. Here are the guys that I really like. Here are the guys that I feel very strongly about are going to hit, are going to be good. I would feel ecstatic if I walked away with one of these cats at my pick, at my prediction, prognostication. I've got 15 in the first two rounds. Number one, Bijan Robinson, running back, Texas. There's only 3 true difference makers at the running back position right now in the NFL. You hear me talk about them. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. Bijan Robinson is the 4th. Now, Detroit has DeAndre Swift, who is a free agent next year. They also brought in David Montgomery. He's mocked to Detroit. I think he goes before 18. I think Mel Kiper's wrong. Bijan Robinson is a total, complete, home run hitting superstar back. Mark Ryan, guy number 2, Will Anderson. Outside linebacker, Alabama. For my money, the best overall player in all of college football a year ago and the year before that. Best overall player, okay? He had 79 quarterback pressures in 2021. Aiden Hutchinson, who went number 2 last year, had 64. Anderson had 17 and a half sacks to Hutchinson's 14. Best player in the draft, Will Anderson. Guaranteed hits. I love Nolan Smith, the linebacker from Georgia. Now, Mark Ryan, they won the national championship without him. Yeah, they did. But I'll tell you what, Smith is explosive, tons of upside, and the folks in the NFL are raving about his leadership ability. Love me some Jackson Smith and Jigba, explosive wide receiver. Feel really good about a trio of Clemson guys. Miles Murphy, Brian Brzee, and Trenton Simpson. Trenton Simpson ran the second fastest ever time for a linebacker at his position at the NFL Combine. The guy has electricity personified, and there's all these videos of him doing like these insane feats, like Diesel jumping up on mats that are 7 feet in the air, like he's standing jumping up on 7 feet worth of mats. There is a position where I don't care about that stuff, and that's the quarterback position. But at the linebacker position, I want to know that you're an athlete. Brian Brzee is a guy who's better than his college production. Missed time when his sister passed away. missed time due to injury, is an absolute tank in the middle, strong and athletic, is going to be a really good pro. I'm telling you, Brian Brzee at the NFL level is going to outperform his draft selection place. How about some other Mark Ryan guys? Second round guys. Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnson. Jordan Addison is your steady Eddie. He's dropping in the draft because his attitude is very ho-hum. Yeah, yes, sir, no, sir. People are struggling to find passion, but you get him on the football field, he's really good. Quentin Johnson on TCU single-handedly beat Michigan. Jahmyr Gibbs, I love two running backs in this draft. Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs in the second round, you're getting a first-round talent. O'Cyrus Torrence, guard from Florida, kept Anthony Richardson upright. Darnell Washington is a freak of nature tight end that is 6'7" out of Georgia, runs a 4.6. BJ Ojulari is the linebacker out of LSU. He's been hot and cold on the tape, honestly, but all I witnessed was him single-handedly wrecking the University of Florida time after time after time. I am so glad that cat is gone. I am so glad I don't have to worry about him anymore. But BJ Ojulari, defensive end out of LSU, looks like a top 20 pick. He had 80 quarterback pressures over the last 2 seasons. 80. Can he keep that motor going the entire game? Then I like Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver out of Tennessee. And how about this? Folks, the third quarterback that I would select in this draft is not Anthony Richardson, and it's not Will Levis. It's Hendon Hooker. He's 25 years old. He's recovering from a torn ACL. He's not the 22-year-old that some teams covet, but in a league, in an era right now where quarterbacks are playing to 37, 38 years old, who's to say Hendon Hooker can't have a 10-year-plus career? Hendon Hooker is my quarterback sleeper steal in this draft. And I know Joe Milton also looks great in Tennessee's offense. Well, Joe Milton is a freak. I was watching Tennessee's former offensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at USF, was talking about Joe Milton. He said in practice, Joe Milton is the best quarterback you've ever seen. And I want to say his last name is Goresh. He's the new coach at USF, Diesel. But he said that he's coached some NFL quarterbacks, and Joe Milton's the best guy they've seen. So, don't freak out about the fact that Joe Milton also looks awesome in Tennessee's offense. It was literally unfair that Tennessee had both Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton on the same team. Legitimately unfair. I love Hendon Hooker. So anyway, folks, those are my guys. You can hold me to this, okay? My guarantee to you is that splitting the first and second round, 55% of the players selected are going to bust. I'm going to have a much higher hit rate on my guys. Bijan Robinson, Will Anderson, Nolan Smith, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Miles Murphy, Jordan Addison, Trenton Simpson, Brian Brzee, Hendon Hooker, Quentin Johnson, Jahmyr Gibbs, O'Cyrus Torrence, Darnell Washington, BJ Ojulari, and Jalen Hyatt. Mark Ryan's guys for the 2023 NFL Draft. Up next on the show, if anybody's wondering why Aaron Rodgers hasn't been traded yet, I'd invite you to invite him to look in the mirror, because the reason is right there. I'll explain next, right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 p.m. on this Friday Eve edition of the show. So, my belief is, ladies and gentlemen, that Aaron Rodgers has no one to blame for him but himself for the fact that his deal isn't done. Now, Diesel, just on the surface level, how come Aaron Rodgers isn't a Jet yet today?
Because he's an ass.
Okay, because he's an ass. He's also not a Jet because the deal is not done to make him one, right? But Diesel, why is the deal
Well, that's
not
the practical
done?
answer.
Right. Why is the deal not done?
Because he's an ass. Nobody wants to work with this guy. People in New York are like, you know what? We don't actually have to make a deal for this guy. We don't actually have to bring him into our locker room.
They want him, Diesel. They want him more than they should. But if you really think and look into why Aaron Rodgers is not a Jet at this point, folks, the answer is as follows. He's not a Jet because there's a discrepancy on the price, right? The Green Bay Packers want a first-round pick somewhere. They'll take a second this year and a first next year. And the Jets are saying, we're not giving you that. But why aren't the Jets giving the Green Bay Packers that? Why is Aaron Rodgers to blame for not already being a Jet? I'll tell you exactly why. And the reason is one of the three words that determines whether your marriage will be successful or not. Those words are trust, love, and commitment. Diesel, Aaron Rodgers is not a Jet because the Jets are unwilling to make the commitment because they have no commitment from Aaron Rodgers on how long in the hell he's going to play.
I thought it was because Aaron doesn't trust anybody, only loves himself, and can't even commit to when he's going to do a darkness retreat.
Can't commit to a darkness, can't commit to the offseason program, can't commit to throwing with young wide receivers, can commit to Blue of Earth, Diesel, which was his girlfriend for about 6 months. But that's it. So don't you think, ladies and gentlemen, that if Aaron Rodgers said, okay, I'm going to play for at least 2 more years, maybe 3, but at least 2, I'll commit to playing 2 more years. Don't you think the Jets would say, okay, we'll give you a first and a second for that? Why in the hell would the Jets commit to a first and second round pick for what could very well be a 1-year rental from a player who isn't even really that committed? You know, so the dispute, like on the surface level, right? It's easy to say, well, the Aaron Rodgers deal isn't done because they can't agree on compensation. That is true. But why are the Jets unwilling to meet the Packers' compensation price? They're unwilling to meet it because they have no commitment from Aaron Rodgers on how long they're going to have him, on how long that is going to be the case. You know, we all sign deals here in this business. It's like working in sports media is very much like working in sports. I shared with you guys last week, I signed a new deal. And management here, the attempt was to sign to a multi-year deal, which was a longer multi-year deal than I had signed previously. And I took that as a compliment. I took that as, okay, like I appreciate this. Like they want to make a commitment to me. They want to make sure that we're going to be here longer term. They've had 4 years. They understand what we bring to the table, and they want us to be a part of the family here. They want a longer-term commitment. I value that. I appreciate that. Don't you think the Jets would value any sort of commitment from Aaron Rodgers? It took Aaron Rodgers like 2.5 months just to decide if he wanted to play at all, right? And so, of course, the Jets don't want to give up a first and a second round pick for that. So what do you do, Diesel? How do you get this deal done if you're the Jets? Very simple. It's got to be incentive-based, right? You do an incentive-based deal. Here's what I'm saying. If Aaron Rodgers, we're going to give you a second-round pick for the first year. If Aaron Rodgers plays a second year, we're going to give you a second-round pick that will become a first-round pick if we make it to the divisional round of the playoffs, which is the final 8.
And if you're leveraging a lot of your future. But again, it's not a bad plan. I mean, if Aaron ends up stinking, or if he decides not to play, then you're not really out all that much.
That's it. It's got to be incentive-based. And I imagine the Jets are pitching that, and for one reason or another, the Green Bay Packers aren't biting. But believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers has only himself to blame for not being a New York Jet already. You know, he will not commit to playing beyond one more year. And so the Jets rightfully are saying, I'm not paying for that. We're not paying through the nose for that. Forget it. Not to mention that AR was 16th in quarterback rating and 21st in QBR last year. He was every bit the mediocre quarterback. How about that? Coming up next on the show, my friends, this simply cannot happen. Yet it did. And it's inexcusable. That's next. This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 p.m. today. What is good, YouTube? Kevin Hines on YouTube says, Diesel looks like he's having a blast hearing about the NFL. That lovely look is what I get every day, Kevin Hines, when we talk NFL in here. Kevin Hines says, do y'all watch Mandalorian, Grogu, Baby, Yada, got an android, really funny last night's episode? I've heard about it, Diesel. I have not seen The Mandalorian, though. I feel like that had a big buzz that kind of faded away.
Seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian were really good. It was like a Western set in space. It's like watching all the classics Clint Eastwood spaghetti Westerns, but in space. And then season 3 has taken a weird turn. It's taken a really, really weird turn, and a lot of people are hitting the eject button on this series.
I got a TV question for you guys, okay? You guys know I recommended to you Physical 100 on Netflix. Everybody's talking about this new jam called Succession, right? And that is, I believe, is that on HBO? So can somebody confirm for me that if I get an HBO subscription, can I then watch both Succession and The Last of Us? Are those both part of the same network? Or do I have to have HBO Max for one or HBO for the other?
No, HBO Max is the service now. It's all of HBO and all of Cinemax's content squished together.
So
but you don't get the late night Cinemax stuff.
I know you're very disappointed about that.
Yeah.
Succession, have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but it's on there. It's on my list.
And is that an HBO property?
It is on HBO.
There you go. Succession, The Last of Us. I'm hearing very, very good things. Diesel and I have a mutual friend. You've heard him on this show before. Jeff Pantridge, said Succession is the best show he's seen since Game of Thrones. That perked my hair up. 71307 on the text line is where. Have any of you guys seen Succession? Is it doing it for you like it's doing it for everybody else?
I've been thinking about starting Game of Thrones, but I almost don't want to because I know how badly it ends up. Like
Diesel, I'm telling you, I didn't mind the way that it ended. I really didn't. They had to put a bow on it, Diesel.
Of course.
There were too many different characters and too many different subplots, and it did feel like it kind of resolved itself pretty quickly. It did feel like that. However, the scenery, the storylines, I'm telling you, Diesel, you're not going to regret it.
Now, I did watch the follow-up show, House of the Dragon, and I thought House of the Dragon was really good. I didn't anticipate that I would like it. I would think, all right, this is going to be corny. The CGI dragons are going to be really bad. I didn't think I was going to like it, and that was pretty good.
Bro, your eyes are going to pop out of your skull. And when I say to you that Game of Thrones is hardcore, I mean it's hardcore in every possible way a show could be hardcore. Okay?
I think that's the way people wanted The Witcher to go, and I watched the first like 2 episodes of The Witcher, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty solid. And then it had a fruity little minstrel dancing around playing a lyre, and I'm like, I'm out.
I'm out. Lonzo was trying to get me to watch The Witcher, and that lasted about 2 episodes as well for me, Diesel. Then I was out as well. Kevin Hahn says The Walking Dead burned me out on zombies, so Last of Us, I watched 1 episode and I left it. Yeah, but The Last of Us is the zombie show the way that a zombie show should be, right? That's what I think.
The first 3 seasons of Walking Dead were phenomenal. And then it just slowly started downhill. It's when T-Dog died. Sorry to anybody who hasn't watched the show yet, but it's been 10 years. Catch up. T-Dog was the heartbeat of that show.
Okay, let's see what you guys are saying on the text line here. Texter says, Mark, Aaron Rodgers hasn't been traded to the Jets because the Jets have all the leverage. They know the Packers have to move Rodgers, so they don't have to give up a lot. They just wait. Well, no, actually, Texter, the Packers do not have to move Aaron Rodgers. You know, they don't have to cave to his trade demand. Aaron Rodgers would be a Jet, but the Jets don't know how much, don't want to commit a lot because they're not getting any long-term commitment from AR. Texter says Aaron Rodgers is heading down the same road as Brett Favre. His heart ain't in it. He just wants a payday, and he will blame the team, front office, etc., for his mistakes or bad playing. It's what he always does. Somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Texter says Rodgers is going to be hot garbage this season, but he will make sure we know it is not his fault. Not my fault.
Well, if guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do, cut some of the reps.
Gonna have to start cutting some reps. A guy's running the wrong routes.
And then the next week, he went out and threw 3 interceptions in the end zone.
You know what would help? Do we still have that montage, Diesel? You know what would really help? The receivers running the right routes. If he was there for the offseason program to work with the receivers. It's amazing how they don't know the reps. They don't have the chemistry when he isn't there to do that with them.
It's not my fault for not throwing the ball where you're supposed to be. It's your fault for not being where I'm going to throw the ball.
Exactly. Folks, I was watching this last night, and I literally could not believe what I saw. Did you guys notice this last night? It was the New Orleans Pelicans play-in game, right? And Zion Williamson, and desperately needed by the New Orleans Pelicans, but he's only played in 29 games the entire year.
We got the montage, by the way.
Okay. Well, let's step out of the way here. Aaron Rodgers says if the receivers aren't going to run the right routes, you're going to have to start cutting some reps. Well, we wonder whose reps should really be cut, because Aaron Rodgers' season last year sounded a little bit like this.
Guys who are making too many mistakes shouldn't be playing.
Long drive, play number 13. Fake, Rodgers, ball is tipped in the air, it is picked off!
We got to fix that.
Rodgers comes back the other way, it's intercepted! He was looking for Bakhtiari, but Aiden Hutchinson, the first-round draft pick, has a pick.
Got to start cutting some reps. And maybe guys who aren't playing, give them a chance.
Pressure. Rodgers steps away, throws, it's intercepted again! It's Joseph again! Kirby Joseph having the game of his season here today.
Nobody feels sorry for us. We got to find a way to get one win. I feel like if we can just get one, and the whole momentum changes.
We can just get one, man. Just want to get one.
Diesel, with every other player in professional sports, you're left wondering, hey, what's he really like? Like, I don't know what Aiden Hutchinson is like. I don't know what Jared Goff is like. Kyler Murray, is he really aloof in the locker room? Aaron Rodgers shows you who he is. He is that coworker that you've had that oversteps his bounds left and right. Like that coworker that you have that acts like they have a title that is far greater than that they do. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. There is no doubt about that. But, what a slap in the face to his head coach. Matt LaFleur, got to start cutting some reps. Who are you, dude? It's like, Green Bay doesn't have an owner. He acts like he's the owner of the team. Get the hell out of here. It's incredible. We may never know who really made the call there, but believe you me, Aaron Rodgers decided that he wanted to go to the Jets after it was already leaking that the Packers were ready to move on from him. Folks, last night, Pelicans, OKC, play-in game, Western Conference. Winner goes to the T-Wolves for the 8th and final playoff berth for the right to play the Denver Nuggets. Lakers got the 7th seed, but with their overtime win over the T-Wolves. Before the game last night, Zion Williamson, who has played 29 games all year, okay? And when he was asked, why is he not playing? And what's going on? And why can't he get out there and play again? He says, I'm going to wait till I feel like myself. I don't feel like myself.
Wait, didn't he say, I'm going to wait till I feel like Zion?
I'm going to wait till I feel like Zion.
Yeah, he's talking about himself in the third person.
He is. Well, and he said, wait, Diesel, and that is, of course, the operative word here. If you listen to the first segment, I said I went to Dunedin, and I got a shirt that I didn't fit into until I was done eating. He's going to wait till he feels like Zion, Diesel. But what is crazy is how many days do you guys go to work when you don't quite feel like yourself? Okay? You guys may know this, may not. I have not felt like myself in a couple of weeks. I've had like some sinus haze. I finally had a doctor tell me today, Mark, like the grass and pine pollen is at like a record level. So are you allergic to grasses? Yes. Are you allergic to pine? Yes. So they're like, you're going to be having problems. And I'm like, yeah, but I've lived here. Like, why is it kicking my ass so badly now? Why is it doing that now? Like, I haven't felt like myself in 2 weeks. So the problem is, and I'm not sure if you guys saw this, and it is, somebody needs to be fired for this. One of them might be Zion, but somebody within the Pelicans thought it would be a good idea to have Zion Williamson warming up publicly, even though there was no intent for him to play. And when Zion warms up publicly, he's doing his between the legs. He's juking left and going right. He's throwing down monster jams. And you're like, bro, we've got a do or die game here in 2 hours, and you can't give us 20, 25 minutes? This dude, Diesel, only person in the NBA, averaging 26 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists, the only person in the NBA with that stat line. They were a top 4 seed when they had him. Like, they started the year guns blazing. And then Zion's going to Zion, and he's not available again. And, look, Diesel, you want to say it's not his fault or he's injury prone, and Mark, he's Spartanburg zone and from Spartanburg Day School. He looks heavy again, Diesel. He's putting way too much torque and weight on those joints. It is the optics of that scene with him like looking like he's fine, dunking the ball left and right. Like, he feels like the guy who calls in sick that isn't sick. He doesn't want to play. That guy.
I don't think Zion wants to play. I really, really don't. And I don't understand because, we watched him when he was in Spartanburg. We watched him in his season at Duke. And he had such a joy for the game. Such a joy for the game. And players in the NBA say it all the time. Like, man, we go out there, we play hurt all the time. We go out there and play hurt all the time. Maybe there's a saying called paralysis through analysis, Mark. I'm sure you've heard that before. It's where you overthink everything and you think that everything has to be perfect for you to even get started on your given endeavor. So you never actually do it. You're just thinking too much. You're in your head too much. And I think a lot of it has to do that with the paralysis through analysis is it has to do with self-esteem issues. And I'm wondering if Zion himself doesn't feel like he is an NBA superstar. Like he was great in high school. He was great in college. He got his shot. And now he's like, ooh, I don't know. I better wait until my ankle feels 100%. I better wait until my body fat percentage is down to this point. And he's stacking and stacking and stacking all of these excuses to not get out and play. Even if you're only available limited time, just make yourself available. Because you know what? Your team is going to turn on you. Your fan base is going to turn on you. Your coach, your ownership, your training staff. No one is going to believe you when you say that you are injured. No one is going to believe you when you say that you want to be on the court. People aren't buying it anymore.
Zion has a 5-year rookie max extension that starts next year for $193 million. He's going to be making $39 million a year beginning this year. The contract is already signed, and unlike the NFL, the contract is fully guaranteed. What are you protecting yourself from? This is do or die. If you blow out your hamstring, you have all offseason to recover it. This is why they're paying you that, dude. I don't quite feel like myself. The hell out of here. I don't quite feel like myself, and I'm here. Diesel, I've seen a number of days where you don't quite feel like yourself. You know what I mean?
I still come in.
He's still here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just unfreaking believable, this guy. He's healthy enough to do windmill dunks and do crossovers. Oh, man, can't give you 20 minutes in a do-or-die game that my team's going to lose by a couple baskets. They lost by a couple baskets. No Zion Williamson. Windmill dunks before the game. You got to be freaking kidding me, man. I just can't with that guy. I can't with that guy.
His heart's not in it. There's no want. There's no want to.
Doesn't
with
want to
Zion
play.
Williamson.
Doesn't want to play. What is he protecting? Financially, what is he protecting? This isn't Lamar Jackson is withholding playing because he doesn't have his new deal yet, wants to make sure he has his deal. Zion signed his deal. This is humiliating and embarrassing and a joke. It's fair to question Zion's love for the game. It's fair to question whether he wants to play. Some days you got to play hurts. That was one of those days. 71307 on the text line. Trey in Kentucky says Zion wants to go to a different market, but he signed in this one. How about the commitment from the New Orleans Pelicans? They should be called the Bourbon Street Flash, by the way. Think about it for a minute. Think of the marketing potential. Think about the commitment. Like, he hasn't played for them at all, and they still made a 5-year, $193 million commitment. Why would they do that? Because you got to take a chance on Zion Williamson, right? Because there was a report Zion Williamson wanted to leave. Okay, you wanted to leave. We're going to give you this fat contract even though you've been injured. We love you that much, Zion. Can't play in a single game, do or die, when he's dunking in warmups. I can't believe somebody allowed that to happen publicly. Can't believe that.
Well, I would say that there are a number of other franchises who aren't stupid enough to make a deal for Zion, who is constantly out, who is constantly hurt, who is constantly finding excuses for why he's not feeling 100% able to go out on the court. But we all know that these teams are stupid. We all know, like, how do you get super rich? How do you become a billionaire and then hire people who are stupid enough to go out and get you Zion Williamson when you know that guy doesn't really want to play? It's Aaron Rodgers all over again. It's the Jets are too stupid to get out of their own way and not realize that you don't have to make a deal for that guy.
Diesel, we now have, in the last 10, 12 years, 2 examples of 1 and 2 picks in the draft where both times, the bigger guy was selected, and neither time did it work. Portland selected Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. Body broke down. New Orleans selected Zion Williamson over Ja Morant. Body breaking down again.
We've got John Edward Kruger in the YouTube thread who's calling us Zion haters. John, explain to us exactly why we're wrong. Your argument here is maybe Zion is hurt. Well, clearly in the warmups, Zion is not hurt. He's out there doing crossover dribbling. He's driving. He's doing acrobatic dunks. Like, the dude is fine. He can get out and play. Stop making excuses for people who don't want to work. Zion doesn't want to work. He's like those kids that we all heard about over the last couple of years since COVID. Like, you know, the whole mantra of kids just don't want to work these days. I don't think Zion wants to work.
If you call in sick, don't let me see you at happy hour. Okay? If you tell me your hammy's too bad to play, don't let me see you doing killer crossovers and dunks in warmups.
Stop it with this, John. John, stop it. Oh, he went to Duke and people hate people from Duke. We don't hate players from Duke.
All right, up next, our media mock draft continues. Mike Asti joins us. He's going to pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's next here on Offsides. We are the Fan Upstate. Extend warm wishes, heartfelt good night sleeps, and all of the above, my friends. All of the above. From us to him, from you to him as well. Here's a guy, I've watched him kind of build his media career up, and his personality reminds me a little bit of myself, honestly. That's not to say we always agree on everything, because we don't. At the same time, I really respect his unique takes on things, and his unique outlook on things. He is a managing editor of the football beat at WV Sports Now. He's also a host on the Believe Network and a contributor to 93.7 The Fan out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mike J. Asti joins us on the show right now. Great to catch up with you, pal. How are you?
I'm doing really well, and we're an introduction. I don't know if any draft is going to get a better introduction than that. So thank you for the intro. Thank you for the congrats. And we're in the swing of things now with my now 8-month-old daughter. And congrats right back at you. I understand you got married not long ago, so happy to be talking to you again.
Oh, man, I really do appreciate it, man. I got to tell you, Mike, the wifey and I watched kind of like one of those YouTube tours of Pittsburgh the other day, and loved it. And I've never been, and I would love to go. I'd love to check it out. Like, what can you tell us about Pittsburgh? Good place to live, like everybody. I was telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, Pittsburgh's beautiful. We're gonna like take a vacation up there. And my old man said, Mark, it gets real cold up there. It wasn't cold in the video I was watching, Mike. It was spring or summertime or something like that. It was gorgeous. Loved it. Tell me about it.
Absolutely. Let me know if you ever do stop by.
Sure.
I feel like Pittsburgh's a very livable city. There's a lot of positives there. Something for everybody. There's a cultural scene, obviously a big sports scene. There's a lot going on that is a reason to love Pittsburgh. It's very affordable, honestly, especially as an East Coast city. And there's even a debate on whether it's East Coast, Midwest, or where it even fits, kind of in that geographic abyss, because it's not really close to a beach, but it's still a major city on the East Coast. It's not really Midwest flavor either. It's cool. I definitely would recommend stopping by and checking it out. And yes, I would probably recommend doing so maybe now in the spring, maybe in the summer, probably right about now, honestly. March, April, May, before it gets ridiculously warm, but it's still hot. Probably perfect time. That's probably where the video show you the best of Pittsburgh. But if you come by in December and January or February in most years, then yeah, it's cold, it's frigid. It's not like down south where you are, which I'm also a big fan of. But this year, Mark, I will tell you, I don't know what's going on, but this year, I don't think I had to shovel snow once. So it was a very bizarre winter. So if you came by this winter, you might have been okay.
Now, Mike, I know this movie came out, God, at this point, almost 10 years ago. So we're nothing if not timely here on this show. What was it like to see Pittsburgh used as the stand-in for Gotham City in the third Batman movie there with Christian Bale? And specifically, what was it like seeing Heinz Field used in the scene where the field blows up and everything falls down into the caverns below? That must have been wild seeing it in a stadium that you were in all the time. It must have been really wild to see.
Yeah, that was kind of wild. I mean, at that point, I wasn't yet covering the Steelers and hadn't built my media career where it is now. So at that point, I was just graduating college, I guess. But it was really cool to see for sure. And at that point, Heinz Field, now Acrisure Stadium. So there's some history there. The signs, the name of the stadium at that point, all gone, all different to now. But you have Heinz Ward running up and down the field collapsing, and then Bane getting over there and talking to the masses. I will tell you is a piece of interesting factoid that'll probably do nothing for you. I believe that was set in the winter time because everyone had jackets. So in the movie, it's the winter, which you think of Gotham City, Pittsburgh, all of that. But I believe it was filmed in August. I actually knew a few people that said they were extras in it, and they had to sit there in August. And it's 80 plus in Pittsburgh in August and wear heavy jackets for hours on end because that scene apparently was not quick to film.
Mike Asti joining us on the show from Pittsburgh, PA himself. All right, Mike. So it is time for us to get down to business here. We are now looking at, in the 2023 NFL Draft, pick number 17. Up until this point, Mike, in the draft, the following players have been selected. The following players are off the board. With the number 1 overall pick in the draft, the Carolina Panthers selected Bryce Young. With the 2nd overall pick in the Offsides Media Mock Draft, the Houston Texans selected C.J. Stroud. 3rd pick, Will Anderson, Arizona. 4th pick, Anthony Richardson, Colts. 5th pick, Jalen Carter, Seattle. 6th overall selection, Tyree Wilson of the Lions. 7th selection was Devon Witherspoon to the Las Vegas Raiders. 8th pick, Bijan Robinson to the Atlanta Falcons. 9th pick to the Chicago Bears, Paris Johnson. 10th pick to the Philadelphia Eagles, Peter Skoronski, tackle out of Northwestern. 11th overall pick in the draft to the Tennessee Titans, Jackson Smith and Jigba. 12th overall pick, Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC. 13th overall selection to the New York Jets, Christian Gonzalez. 14th pick, New England Patriots, Quentin Johnson. 15th overall selection, Clemson Tigers, Green Bay Packers, Miles Murphy. And with the 16th overall pick, cornerback out of Maryland, Deonte Banks. If you're still awake and you're still with us, Mike, after all of that, we let you know that the floor is yours and the pick is in. And with the 17th overall selection in the 2023 Offsides Media Mock Draft, Mike Asti, representing the great city of Pittsburgh, PA, joining us from Pittsburgh, PA right now, steps to the podium and selects.
The Pittsburgh Steelers will select, with the 17th overall pick, a legacy selection, Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State.
Wow. Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State is the pick. Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State is supposed to go right around this time. Obviously, his dad was a linebacker, cornerback out of Penn State. And Mel Kiper's most recent mock draft, he's going 16th to the Washington Commanders. Local kid, legacy kid. Is that why you're making this pick, Mike?
No, that is not why, although it's nice for sure. And I will say, I believe I'm now 3-0. If they end up picking Joey Porter Jr., I'm 2-0 to this point because I had Najee when I started with you, and then last year ended up with Pickett. It's cool to go pick Penn State back-to-back years. It's cool because of Joey Porter Sr. and that legacy connection. But no, I do believe Joey Porter Jr. is a fit for the Steelers. I know a lot of debate on if he's a fit or not exists, and he is supposed to go right around this period of time. And pretty much I also worked off of your board. So if you have Jordan Addison gone, and some Steelers fans do want the Steelers to go back-to-back pick players, even though he's out of USC, but a former pick grade in Jordan Addison, they can churn wide receivers in their sleep. They've been doing it through any era, even now with Omar Khan running the ship. They still have production there. You lose Claypool, but his production had dropped. They can do other things, and they just drafted George Pickens last year, who I think is a bona fide stud. They didn't need to go wide receiver right away. Kansas could make sense as well for the offensive line as another Pitt player. But I want Joey Porter Jr. Number one, they need defensive help finally. They've been drafting offense in the first round the last few years, in the last several rounds of the last few years, actually. Rounds 1 through 3 have mostly been offense the last couple of years. They need a corner. They need an aggressive corner. I do think he's a fit in their mentality. Honestly, yeah, there's some mental mistakes that he sometimes offers with bad penalties. Things need cleaned up. That's why some maybe don't love him despite the legacy connection. But Mike Tomlin loves coachable players. He's going to be a coachable player because his dad is all over him. I was around him at the Combine. His dad is forcing this kid to be coachable, basically, and to have a career. He's going to be mentored by so many senior players that'll be all up in his business at camp, etc. There will be pressure there, but if all they need to do is clean up some mental mistakes and you have the natural talent, you have the aggressiveness, it's hard to find a corner with that type of brute force. They can't resist them. The Penn State thing is nice, but they wouldn't just draft him just because of that. Like they wouldn't have taken Pickett last year regardless of him being a Pitt player, if they didn't love him as a QB. So I think he fits the Penn State thing, and Joey Porter, that's just a bonus.
Contributed to 93.7 The Fan, a football beat for West Virginia Sports Now out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mike J. Asti joining us here 3 years in a row to make picks for the Steelers in our media mock draft, our Pittsburgh connection here with you today. So, Mike, let me ask you this. Sell me on Kenny Pickett being more than a game manager at this point.
Okay. Well, the jury honestly is still out on that. I do believe the Steelers, I will tell you, are fully sold on him being the guy, and they're certainly invested for the next several years. I think Pickett showed enough at the end of the season, especially, where he really took better care of the football, certainly than when he first became the starter and first played earlier in the year when it seemed like it was pick after pick. And he did lead them on some really quality drives late in games, some comebacks, but also showed some moxie and some leadership and kind of that aura that a veteran quarterback would give you. That's why there's belief from Mike Tomlin all the way down around the Pittsburgh Steelers that, hey, this guy, it's the old adage, it's hard to equate, but he has really galvanized the troops. He's become a leader of this team. The players there with the Steelers believe in Kenny Pickett. They do. So when you have the players believing in you, you show him some flashes. You need to clean up a lot, but he was a rookie. He was the only first-round quarterback taken last year, said to be the most NFL ready. That didn't have to mean he was going to be right away, you know, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, etc. It took them some time. It's taking him some time. But I think he cleaned up his act enough. He should take a jump this year. I don't know if he's nearly ever going to be elite or ever going to be in a top 5 ranking or say that he's going to be a Hall of Famer like Big Ben was. But if you build enough around him, I do think he can be good enough to be a top 15 quarterback in a couple years maybe to help this team win. Will they get in the playoffs next year with them? It'll be a question mark. But you'd also figure that George Pickens takes a leap as well. Frymouth keeps taking a leap. You still have Najee, who also played better last year when he got healthy and now appears to be healthier. Maybe that next year he has more help around him that are also better suited for him. But he showed enough to provide more confidence than maybe a year ago with some critics, but the jury is honestly still out on Pickett.
We were convinced, Mike, for just about the entirety of last season that, okay, it's been a good run for Mike Tomlin. Had a chance to meet him last year at the Clemson Pro Day. He's there every year, apparently. Was very cordial, very friendly, very nice. But for much of last year, it's like, okay, it's been a good run. This whole streak of never having a losing season is obviously going to come to an end now. And then it didn't. How big a deal is that like even in that year, in the press reset button year, he still finished with a winning record? How crazy is that?
Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword for Steeler fans, but I will tell you that the Pittsburgh Steelers themselves and Mike Tomlin now kind of has admitted this a little bit. Certainly the players on the team, they care about it. Now, Mike Tomlin, of course, admits it the least, but he's been able to speak about it a little bit more in recent years than before. And while you're only as good as your most recent season, of course, and the Steelers expect a lot more than what the recent seasons have been, there's a feeling among Steeler players, I'm sure you can get this, Mark, they don't want to be the crew that finally had a losing season under Mike Tomlin. Like, that's what they were playing for towards the end of last year. They spoke about it. They talked about it. Cam Hayward in particular, who has been there the longest, the most veteran, he said, I don't want to lose this for Tomlin while I'm still here. So they do care about that. They do want to make sure that that stays as long as they can. Now, the double-edged sword part is, and we're talking NFL draft, you could argue, while it's obviously a feather in his cap, and he is a Hall of Fame coach, he's going to be in Canton someday, even though he certainly isn't a perfect coach by any means and has underachieved at times. But the Steelers franchise might have been better off at this point if they would have had some bad years in the middle of it. I mean, he does have a championship, was in another one. They've always mostly been a contending team, even getting winning records and flirting with playoffs in recent years with the end of Ben and now the beginning of Pickett. But if they threw a 4-win season in there, a 5-win season in there, or even worse, they would have got a much better draft position. They're always drafting anywhere from 14 to 20, and then obviously even later in the first round if they actually have a really good year. So it's harder to build a team. Like if they want Addison, they probably need to trade up. They probably need to be off a worse record of a type of year. So that's the negative. In the NFL, you can build quickly, but you need to kind of be bad occasionally, and they're just never really, really bad, even if they haven't been really, really good in a while. But they don't want to give it up. And it will be brought up when he's inducted. It'll be bragged about by the franchise, even if it's only one ring at the end of the day, better than zero, and they absolutely care about it. I think the fans are getting a little annoyed with it, though, because it has now made it kind of harder for them to build the next era of Steeler football.
Mike Asti, managing editor, Football Beat at West Virginia Sports Now. That's WV Sports Now. Also a contributor to Odyssey Station, 93.7 The Fan, out of Pittsburgh, PA. Mike, congratulations on all your blessings, man. It's awesome to see it, awesome to hear it. Continued well wishes to you on your media climb as well. Love your stuff, man. Thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Congrats right back to you. And, yeah, let me know if you ever do stop by Pittsburgh. I don't know if I recommend it as a vacation spot, but some cool things to do nonetheless.
Can't wait, man. I definitely will. We'll talk to you soon, Mike. Mike Asti, new dad, Mike Asti, picking for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Diesel, 2 for 2. 2 for 2. Najee Davenport and Kenny Pickett. We've been doing this so long now, he's able to remember that he's 2 for 2 in the draft picks. We will see how it goes. By the way, Kevin Hines on the YouTube page, on the comment section, is saying, I'll bet $5 that Mark Ryan's mock draft doesn't come to fruition. Kevin, I'll have you know, I have not done a mock draft at all. Okay? I have given you what I would do if I were the teams. Okay, so I had the Texans selecting Will Anderson second, bypassing C.J. Stroud. Had the Carolina Panthers taking Bryce Young. And then I have given you my guys, the guys that I feel have a better than not chance of hitting in the NFL draft. A mock draft is when you predict what's going to happen. We have not done that, Kevin. We have not done that. Now, if you want to say Mark's guys that Mark is telling us are going to hit are going to be worse than the 45% hit rate that happens in the NFL, I'll accept that challenge. My guys are going to be real good, but we have not done a mock draft here on this show. By the way, we seem to have kicked a hornet's nest on Zion Williamson. We'll get to that next here on Offsides. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. Look, we're saying on the show, man, like you can call into question Zion's commitment at this point. And I get it, folks. Believe me when I tell you that, like, your head's got to be in the right place to do a good show. But you got to bleeping try. If you can dunk, if you can do a killer crossover, you've got to try. You can't just be out there in public showing everyone you can dunk and then not trying to play in the game and then telling the media Zion will play when Zion feels like Zion. You can't do that, man. You can't freaking do that. It's lame and it's dumb and it sucks. So cut it out, Zion. Really. I mean, I got to say, man, I'm just about at the point where I'm fully out on Zion Williamson. I'm fully out. Just never available, never reliable. Best ability is availability. He's never there. That's a song by Cake, right? You guys remember that? You're never there. Let's get to John Edward, who is up next on the show. Hey, John, appreciate the call, pal. You're Offsides.
Yeah, how are you, Mark?
Good, man.
Okay, this whole Zion thing. So y'all are saying, admittedly, I did not watch. I watched about half that game last night just because, it was on late and I had to get up this morning and go to work, but whatever. So, and I didn't see, before the game. So y'all are saying he was dunking and warm-ups, but he didn't play? I know he didn't play, but you said
right.
he was
Right.
dunking?
So yeah, they had him publicly performing in warm-ups. Okay. And honestly,
Okay.
John, this is something, if you're going to have a big opinion about it, you should make sure you see it, right? Because the Pelicans lost in a very, very close game, in a game they had to win.
Yeah,
They were a very, very different team earlier in the year when they had Zion Williamson. I think they got as high as the 3 seed in the West when they had Zion Williamson. Yeah, they lost 123-118. Zion Williamson was the only player in the NBA averaging 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4.5 assists. A very unique skill set. And he's warming up before the game doing crossovers and dunks. And you mean to tell me...
But he didn't play.
So he didn't play. In a game that the Pelicans absolutely had to have him. Their season was on the line. And, John, he's already got his deal. He's got his 5-year, $193 million deal, which he's already signed, fully guaranteed, starts next year. If there is ever a time to take a risk, it's the last game of the year when even if you tweak the hamstring, you got a whole offseason to get it better. It's pathetic, John. It's pathetic. Such a bad look.
Yeah, let me say, I get what you're saying, but let me say this about Zion, and this is, I guess, just my opinion. Let me just say this, Mark. If this continues into next season, I guess I'm out. And let me just say this about Zion. I loved watching him at Duke. I don't think I've ever told you this. There's a difference, I play for Duke basketball, but there's a difference for me, when I was, since I've been watching Duke basketball for a few years now. My favorite player ever to watch at Duke was J.J. Redick. But most entertaining player to watch at Duke was Zion. Does that make sense? Favorite player ever, J.J. Redick, but entertaining was Zion.
Sure. No, I get it. I got you. It makes sense.
So let me just want to throw that in there. But like I said, if this Zion, him not being available, him only played, he played 29 games this year. Let's just round up to 30 for the sake of the conversation. Let's just say he plays 30-something games next year.
Okay.
And they miss out again. Then I'll be out. But I think, this is my opinion, and anybody can have their own opinion on the guy, which is totally okay. But if he's not readily available next year, he might be a solid player, but he's not going to be what people thought.
Zion Williamson has played in 100. He's played in 114 games out of 308 available since he was drafted by the Pelicans. Out of 308. Okay. The COVID year played 24 games. The second year in the NBA, he played 61. He missed the entirety of the third year in the NBA, was here for 29 games this year. He's played in 37% of the games. This is precisely why nobody is signing Lamar Jackson, because he's not available.
Yeah.
He's not available. And NFL owners are saying, we're not doing guarantees. We don't want to get roped into a Zion Williamson type of $39 million a year deal. I'm telling you, man, I can't believe that Zion and the Pelicans thought it would be a good idea to have him doing killer crossovers and dunks right before a must-win game, and he can't play. What? John, I need you to come to my side here, buddy. What's up?
Do you think maybe the Pelicans would be they're not going to get out of that? Like, who's going to take them off the hands? I mean, like, I heard Diesel talking like, somebody's going to take him off the hands, be that stupid. But you think maybe New Orleans would have been better off not giving him his rookie extension and him not, let's just say, quote, taking up a spot?
Well, I think
and
I appreciate the call, John. Thank you so much for ringing us up, dude. I do appreciate it very, very much. The decision as to whether or not to re-up Zion Williamson, it's a gamble, and they have taken a huge gamble. And if he plays 37% of the games, everybody's losing their job. Okay, it is a massive, massive gamble, and it's one I don't think I would have made.
And John, I asked the question, what team would be stupid enough to take on Zion Williamson? It's not about the money. It's about the mentality. It's about the mentality of Zion Williamson, because he hasn't proven that he wants to do whatever it takes to be out there on the court. Even if he's only playing at 80%, Zion Williamson is still an effective player. He doesn't have to play the entire game. He just needs to give you 10, 15 solid minutes a game, even when he's not at 100%. All the best players go out and play when they're hurt. They all do it. So how am I to know if I am an owner of, and I'm just going to make something up, the Charlotte Hornets? If I'm an owner of the Charlotte Hornets, how am I to know that if we spend all this money to go get Zion Williamson, he's not going to do the exact same thing to my team? Oh, well, Zion plays when Zion's ready.
We got to run to the top of the hour break. We've got the top 5 at 5 coming your way next here on Offsides. We are the Fan Upstate.
And that is going to do it for our live stream today. Thank you,
guys,
for being
Kevin
here.
Hines, John, all of you who chimed in, man, we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
for helping us get this platform launched and for tuning in each and every day. It means a lot to us, man.
Yeah, this thing is getting bigger and bigger every day. You know, we used to see 2, 3 people in here at a time. Now we're seeing 4, 5, 6 people in here at a time. And we appreciate you guys going back and forth at each other in the comment sections. It means everything to us that you've got such a lively discussion going on there. And I love when it spills out, when we know we got John calling us up on the show because he's upset at something we said on the stream. So it's great. It's great. So if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. That way, as soon as we go live, which is at 3:00, you get a heads up that we are live, and you can join the live stream right from the very beginning of the show. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you soon.